Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever time of day you're viewing this. Welcome to today's episode of the Raw Podcast. My name is Rahsaan, Corbin II. We're here another great episode with someone I met actually last year at InvestFest. And I look at
Mm.
this full circle moment. I was telling him about my podcast idea, and now he's on it. So, what's up, Inks? How you doing?
What's up, man? Hey, time is crazy, right?
Yeah, man. I'm glad to have you on. Glad to have you on, man.
100%. And Vets Fest almost coming back around. That's crazy how that happens like that.
Yeah, and what was it, August? Like late August this year?
Hmm.
Man, we're gonna see if I make it again this year. Anyway,
Yeah, same here.
we could talk about it a little bit into the interview, but for right now, we're gonna do a little icebreaker before we hop into some of these questions. Know about your journey through the music industry and mentorship as well. So
100%.
I got a few questions here. They're all music related.
Okay.
So, would you rather listen to your least favorite genre for 24 hours or never listen to your favorite genre again for 6 months?
Say that one more time.
So, would you rather listen to your least favorite genre for 24 hours or never
Mm.
listen to your favorite genre for 6 months?
The 6 month option for sure.
Man,
Yeah,
you
I
stuck
wouldn't
with your
want
least
to.
favorite genre for 24 hours?
Yeah, yeah. Because it's like I don't want. I need my tunes when I need them. So I definitely take the 6 month option.
Got you. Uh, would you rather listen to a song with terrible vocals but brilliant lyrics or a song with amazing vocals but horrible lyrics?
Nah, I can't do the horrible lyric thing. The lyrics joints, I can't do it. Like I'm like, cause sometimes the beats be amazing, then the lyrics just be. I'm like, yo, what the like? You just ruined the whole song. So yeah, I can't do the bad lyrics.
Oh my goodness. All right. Would you rather hear your favorite artist sing your least favorite song or your least favorite artist sing your favorite song?
Think I would definitely like. It was it my what was my favorite artist doing again?
So the favorite artist singing your least favorite song or
And was
your
it
least favorite artist singing your favorite song.
yeah, my favorite artist singing my least favorite song.
Oh man, ears gonna be
Yeah,
hurting.
yeah, because it's my favorite artist. I'm like they can have a bad day or two. You know what I'm saying? I don't count against them.
Gotcha. We got one more here. Who are your top five dead or alive artists?
Top five dead loud like it here. Top five. That's a tough one. Uh, so I don't want to go with the usual what everybody say, but I would definitely have to throw Tupac in there. It's just his combination of movies, music, and culture is kind of undeniable. So definitely Tupac. I would say, I would say Master P is in mine from just an entrepreneur standpoint. His music wasn't the best, but the way he did it and his grit outweighed a lot of music in my opinion. Jay-Z for sure. I feel like Jay-Z, his wisdom is beyond his time because he was saying the stuff that we think today, like back in the 90s. So I would say Hove. Two more. Let me see, two more. Let me try to think of some today artists. Wayne for sure. His longevity is I don't think we'll get another Wayne from a longevity standpoint. And let me see. And Nip Hustle. I would say Nip just from his entrepreneurial hustle and his music is actually good.
TMC all day, every day. All money in, no money out.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
I appreciate that for the icebreaker. Now we're a little warmed up. We're gonna get right into these questions.
Hmm.
So, where you from? You went to school. Tell us where you went to school, what you study, and what are you currently doing for work?
Yeah, so I went to school at Virginia State University. And then I went to Full Sail University Music School, but Virginia State was my undergrad. That's where I pretty much had most of my experiences. Um, What was it? You gotta take your question slow for me, bro.
Oh yeah,
I read
sorry,
the first
sorry.
thing,
All
and
right,
then I
I'll
don't
go.
remember the second question.
All right, so you said where you went to school. What'd you study?
Yeah, I studied mass communications at Virginia State. And the mass communications was kind of crazy because I don't really use the mass con like that. Because back then, I'm not sure how it is now, but like it was more about radio and like TV. It
Mm,
really wasn't about like media like it is nowadays. I feel like now the media is like podcasting and just different things. But back then it was strictly TV and radio.
mm.
So I studied that. Um, and then what was the other question?
What are you currently doing for work?
So I am a consultant. I have my own consulting company, VIC Consulting. So I consult entrepreneurs, musicians, people that's struggling in life, trying to find their purpose. And then also I have a cleaning business too that I picked up probably a while ago. During the recession, I had to figure out because the music industry had slowed down, and people wasn't performing and stuff like that. So I had to figure something out that worked when the economy was down, and the cleaning business kind of picked up for me during that time. So yeah,
That's what's up. And then I don't think I asked, but where you from? You from Virginia?
yeah, I'm from Virginia, I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, so we're gonna dive into these questions. So first section we got is your journey with the music industry.
Mhm.
So just like off rip, like when did you first realize music was what you wanted to do? Like go into the
Yeah,
music
man.
industry.
Yeah, 100%. So I grew up wanting to be in the music industry. That's what I looked up to. Coming up in my neighborhood, it was either the music industry, sports, or just drugs. Like that was pretty much it. I didn't really see much outside of that because those were the things that stood out amongst us, right? Like now it's different. I feel like you could be like in a lot of different quirky things if you wanted to be. Like you could actually be smart now and it's cool. Back then if you were smart, it just was not celebrated. You know what I'm saying? So you didn't want to be that guy, right? So it was either sports. I wasn't the most athletic, played sports, but I didn't have the determination to go out there every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, 2 days. I did 1 2 days and I never returned back. Like that drink killed me. I'm like, nah, it's not for me. And naturally, music just was always like a thing for me, growing up seeing it. And then I had the ability to rap a little bit, but I fell in love with the business side because I seen I can kind of control my own destiny from that standpoint, you know.
That's what's up. Did you do any demos when you were on the come up into the industry?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you could find them, but definitely in high school. I hope you can't find them, but in high school, definitely did a few demos.
That's what's up. And then
Yeah.
what was that moment where you felt like your dream was starting to come to reality?
I stood so in the music industry, I feel like I forced my way in there. I definitely wasn't invited in it, right? Like I had to kind of force my way in that industry. And I felt like I made it one day when I went to this concert. I stood outside this concert probably like 4 hours. I had a camera with me because that was like back then. I used to wear a camera. I didn't really not take pictures, but the camera would allow me in places that I couldn't really get in. So I would wear the camera on me. And one day I was at a Busta Rhymes show and I was backstage with my camera and I met Busta Rhymes and his partner Flip. And they embraced me. And from that day on, doors just started opening for me. You know what I mean? That's when I knew everything. And I was working way before then, probably 3 or 4 years before then. But that moment made me realize, damn, this shit can actually work.
So yeah, I always see Busta Rhymes. I follow him on Instagram. He always shows love to everybody. I remember each
Yeah.
post would say, more blessings on the way, or something like that. Saying embrace the blessing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You got to meet
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes. I seen him in concert a few years ago, and I'm like, I didn't feel the hype like that because he's a little older. He can't like jump around stage like he did in the '90s or 2000s.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it was still so surreal seeing him. But you meeting him is definitely
Yeah.
something great to have. Um,
100%.
were there any major setbacks that made you question your path? Because I know you mentioned that you kind of forced your way in, no one invited you in, like pushed you or whatever. But were there any setbacks you faced on the way?
In the music industry, yeah,
Yes.
man, because again, in the music industry, there's not a blueprint on how to get in there. Like you really have to create your own blueprint. You really have to be what they call delusional because you're going to hear so many no's and you still have to get up and go past those no's, right? People are not willing to say, hey, I'm going to help you, right? You have to literally force yourself indoors, talk to everybody that you could talk to, hear 1,000 no's, and still show up tomorrow like nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, going through that, and then you have back. I don't know how it is now, and I'm speaking like this was so long ago. It really wasn't, but I feel like time has changed so much with the music industry. So I feel like things have changed, but you really had to prove your worth, meaning that you had to work years without getting paid. Like I didn't get paid in the music industry you know, probably to like 5 years in. I mean, people will pay me from time to time, but I mean, like to actually live off it. Yeah, I didn't see nothing like that in probably to like 5 years in that industry.
Okay. And then how'd you stay so resilient throughout those times?
I think because my dream was stronger than like my fear. Like, and I had a lot of fear, right? But my dream was just stronger. I had a lot on my back. I used to have what I call fake chips on my shoulder. I would kind of program myself to say, hey, if I don't make it, this will happen. I have to do this for my grandmother. I have to do this for my family. And using those motivations, it does work in the time, and it did work in that time, but that got me through those moments. I created scenarios in my head and it pushed me through.
So resilience is always needed. And then, top of resilience, how is your relationship with music or even just the industry? How did it evolve over the years for you?
Yeah, yeah, man. What I learned about the industry is a beautiful thing because you could be what society would consider a nobody or low life. You can come from any world, any part of the world that you want and get in that industry and make a name for yourself, right? You don't have to have experience. You don't have to go to school. You just really have to have grit and determination. You don't even have to be talented in music, to be honest with you. You really could just be a person that's going to get up and try it every day. Eventually, you will succeed in something in that. You might not be an artist, but you might find out that you're a good cameraman. Or you might not be a cameraman, but you might find out that you're a manager, right? And that just takes getting up every day and doing it. So that put me in a position where I kind of like fell in love with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I don't have to be this person to make it in this industry. But what I did find out in this industry, you have to create what I call your own ecosystem in it because the music industry itself, as good as it is, it's an equal bad to it, right? Like you can really get in it and really, how can I put it? Excuse me, man, it's light in here. How can I put it? You can get into it and get caught up in the negative side of it, right? Because there is a part of that industry that's really, really negative, that's controlling, that signing the wrong thing could cost you a lot of money and even your life sometime. You know what I'm saying? Getting in with the wrong people, you might get in and you with a crew. You might not even be from the streets, but you get in with a crew that's from the streets, and they got an issue with somebody else, that then turns into your issue, right? And you might not even be from that, right? So it's a lot of things in that industry that you can get caught up in, man. And that's when I kind of like, okay, I have to create my own way in this, or I'm going to be in the palm of somebody else's hand, which is never good.
So determine your own destiny and that freedom is always good to have. Uh,
100%.
what's one part of the industry that surprised you the most when you like, first really got in?
Yeah, I would say that it's fake. Like it's fake, right? So what most people see is not the truth about the industry, right? Like the lives that you think people live, it's just not real. It's really a place that you have to present yourself a certain way for people to believe you who you are. Eventually, you can turn into that. But from what I see, what surprised me was when you really get into the depth of it, it's kind of fake. It's like a fake reality. People are putting on they not, but they don't really be that person. You know what I mean? Some people are, and it surprises me when I meet people that are. I'm like, damn, you just like you is in your music, or when I see you on radio. Some people is very like that, but a lot of people, for the most part, they're not how they perceive themselves. They're actually the totally opposite. So that
Yeah,
surprised me.
got you. Then what's one lesson you learned that no one taught you in the beginning?
Uh, Man, you have to look out for yourself in that industry, right? Because you could do a lot of favors for people. You could sacrifice a lot of time, energy, and money and health. But you're gonna have to figure out a way to look out for yourself. Because if you don't, it's rare that people will come back and say, "Man, I appreciate what you did. Let me help you out." So from the jump, you got to establish what you're trying to do and how you gonna eat and how you gonna feed yourself and how you gonna exit it. I think anyway.
That's what's up. And then what's a career highlight? I know you mentioned the meeting Busta Rhymes and Spliff backstage, but is there another highlight you want to talk about within your journey with the music industry?
I mean, yeah. So I have a lot of highlights in the music industry, but I would say my biggest highlight is being on tour. I was a tour manager for 5 years. So I've been some everywhere, traveling the world, doing something you love doing that you would really do for free. I don't believe it's another feeling like that, right? Like I don't. I mean, and I haven't experienced everything, but I could say that you going around traveling place to place for some you would do free and you actually getting paid for it and you getting paid a good amount of money for it. That's like it's a feeling undescribable.
Can you talk a little more about that process being a tour manager?
Yeah, 100%. So I work with a few artists. One of the artists I work with that most people know is Troy Ave. Working with him, and being a tour manager, being a booking agent. And I got into it by just really being a connector. Again, when you're in this industry, you got to figure out how you're going to pretty much eat, right? So what I would do is I would connect people. Like I would talk to somebody and say, "Hey, what do you need? Like, or I would just look at them and see what they need. Because when you do it enough, you can see what somebody's missing. And then I would know somebody that I talked to a while ago at a networking event. I'm saying, oh, such and such do that. And then I would connect those two. And by doing that enough, people start to call on you more, right? People
Mhm.
start to depend on you more. And they will give you, the ability to run a play for them, which means that, hey, I got a show coming up and I need to figure out what's the best hotel in Orlando, right? So they may call me, and I've been talking to people from Orlando because I've been moving in out of Orlando, and just using Orlando as an example. But I've been moving out the city for a while, so I done made connections while I was in the city. So I'm able to go call, hey, what's the best hotels y'all got, or what's the best, and doing that enough, you start taking a role of certain people. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of got into it. And then, as a tour manager, you charge 10%, 15% on top, 20% if you're good enough. And by doing that, you start to make, a career out. And again, I would do it for free. So just getting money out of it was just, I like.
So, and then with your entrepreneurship journey within the
Mhm.
music industry, can you name some services that you provide for artists, beyond anything else you do beyond being a tour manager?
Yeah, for sure. So the tour manager was one of my main ones, but consulting, marketing, and management as well. I had owned a studio for a while, so I would constantly service artists in a consulting fashion, but also provide them a place to be creative and artistic. Because what I noticed was a lot of artists, they lack structure, discipline, and focus. So if I had the ability to coach them on what I already seen, what I know they're trying to get to, that allowed me to be able to enter their space and kind of they would trust me enough to tell them, yo, this is what you should be doing. So my biggest role, I would say, in that was the consulting and coaching space because that allowed me to one help artists, but two continue my learning from other artists that's already made it. So it's kind of like going back and forth. It's like I'm learning, and then when I'm taking what I learned and I coach, people that's trying to come up.
What are some successful marketing strategies that you use for artists, or have you seen artists use to really get their name out there?
I would say not losing the traditional methods, right? Like, so social media is an amazing platform, so take advantage of it for sure. But what I notice is the newer artists don't have the personalities of the older artists because the older artists had to go outside and talk to people and stuff like that. They just have better personalities, right? They more they talk to people more. And that's to me, like I could promote someone on social media because I actually like I would do this. I would promote someone on social media. We go to the city and then people like, I didn't even see it. I'm
Mhm.
like, damn, we didn't run this ad. I don't know how you even see it, but they literally don't see it because everybody's not on their phone. Everybody, and if they is on their phone, they still might not see it. So the ability to reinforce what you're doing on social media. So even though if I'm promoting and marketing on social media, you have to reinforce it some way, somehow. You know what I mean? Whether that's going to the city or whether that's actually appearing on podcasts, radio, email. You just want to appear as many times you can so people can be familiar with you. I would say that's probably the greatest thing I've seen in singing work.
Or got you, got you. And now that you're living your dream, kind of, you already talked about what keeps you through resilience, but what keeps you inspired? Like, have you ever had like a creator's block or a work block that kind of stopped you?
Yeah, I would say because right now I grew out of I hit this what I call this little plateau where music necessarily didn't make me happy anymore. So I had to rediscover what it is that I actually want to do. Because I got in the music industry, I went farther than I ever could imagine. Like I just had a dream. I was a kid from the projects. I just really wanted to get in there. I believed it, but I wasn't 100% sure it was gonna happen. So when it happened, I didn't anticipate the after stage of that, right? Because like we focus on getting to it, but nobody really talks about once you get to it, like what do you do after that, right? So I was in that process, and once I got to that process, and once I actually got in the industry, again, it's not as what it seems. So it was I was like, well, damn, this is it. Like I don't really it ain't that deep. Like it's cool, but it's not like everything, right? So I had to figure out what could I do to what could I pivot to? Like what's next for me? Is this it? Or do I have anything else? So working with independent artists kind of kept me inspired because I have the ability to help them get to their dreams. You know what I'm saying? So with me, what makes me like happy is providing opportunity for other people. Whether that's in me giving somebody a job, whether that's me giving them access to information and wisdom to allow them to get to their dream. Because what I'm trying to teach people is that you have to develop like clarity and self-awareness early as possible because the worst thing is to chase something your whole life, spend so many years sacrificing to get to that, and then once you get to that, you realize that damn, that's not even it.
Mhm.
And you done wasted 10, 20 years because I grinded probably 10, 15 years on that. You know what I'm saying? Just getting to that. And in that process, I sacrificed time, energy, money, family. I lost a lot of relatives. I lost so much in that process that I was so focused on my goal, I didn't even look at that. You know what I'm saying? And then once I finally got to my goal, I thought the world was going to allow me to celebrate. But by the time I got to my goal, I had already lost so much. It's like I had to pick that, but picking that, I had to sacrifice something else. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So now I'm trying to teach people like, yo, it's best for you to have really awareness about yourself so you can actually be happy in what you want to do.
I think this is a good transition. You definitely touched on, helping people out, showing them the ropes and whatnot. But we're going to talk about mentorship next. You
Yeah.
mentioned you wrote a book about
Mhm.
mentorship, and you really heavily focused on it. Can you talk about the inspiration behind that? You talked about it a little bit already, but can you go a little more in depth on, the focus on mentorship for, something tangible like a book?
Yeah, 100%. So I did a book because being in the music industry, like I'm artistic as well. I don't learn, I learn a certain way. Like most artists aren't like we creative, so we learn visually. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can I express myself in a way? I'm not a rapper, so how can I express myself, right? And I'm like, a book is probably the next best thing because I do like literature and reading. So how can I like give gems and values without like being a rapper, right? So the book was really my next best thing because I have learned probably 70% of my stuff from other books, right? If it wasn't for certain influences in books, I'm not sure if I would be in this place that I am from an internal standpoint. You know what I'm saying? So I want to be able to give that to the next generation. And the easiest way to do that is through mentorship, books, and doing content. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not a book person, which is okay, you can consume content. So that's kind of what got me into writing a book. I said, I want to be able to leave something, some type of wisdom for people because I noticed when you think about the greatest people in the world, they didn't really leave money. They like Martin Luther King, Malcolm, none of them left a ton of money. Like, you know, or if you go to biblical prophets, nobody left no money. They all left wisdom and knowledge. And from that wisdom and knowledge, people are able to create, money.
So what's up? And then what's the name of the book?
Yeah, so I got it's called Tales of the East End. So I dropped one probably 6 months ago, and I got the part two coming up probably in sometime next month. So
Nice.
yeah,
Nice. Congrats on that. That's a really big accomplishment. Starting a book
appreciate
and then finishing it with creating it. So that's what's up. And looking for. I'll definitely look into it. Definitely put a link in the bio, or not in the bio, in the description, all that stuff.
it.
So for anyone to check it out and give you your flowers for everything you're doing, because it's
Appreciate it.
very important. So then can you describe the moment you realized mentorship was like your true calling?
Yeah, I would say it's two moments. One moment is when I was able to give somebody I went to school with a job. It's this feeling that you get, and it's a weird feeling, but you get this feeling in the inside of you, like this is what you meant to do. And the only way you can even get that feeling is if you're clear up here to feel it. You know what I'm saying? But I got this little weird feeling inside when I gave this person a job. It was an inkling feeling, and then I felt that feeling again when I mentored somebody and helped them get to another level in their life. So I try to follow that feeling. Like if I feel like that, I know it's meant for me. And then the way my life folded out, I feel like because I tried to do other things. You know what I'm saying? Like I tried to, because I'm a marketer originally. That's how I got into music. I do marketing, digital marketing. So I tried to go the digital marketing route. I work for companies, right? Because I'm a product person originally. Like I'm great at marketing and products. So originally, at one point in time, I tried to go that way. It didn't work. You know what I mean? Or I tried to continue the music industry the same way I was going about it, and it didn't work. You know what I mean? I even tried getting just a regular job, and it didn't work. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, none of this shit is working. So what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And I happened to pivot to that way, and I just started picking up, and it felt natural to me. Like I can get on the phone and talk to somebody, it just feels like a regular conversation.
That's good. Yeah. With my mentees, I say I treat my mentor-mentee relationships like it's a friendship. It keeps
Yeah.
it more organic. You don't want to force, like, oh, how are you doing? Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing for like to help you better yourself? I talk about like,
Yeah.
what do you do when you're free time?
Yeah.
What makes you happy outside of what you do for work? Because sometimes people need that weight lifted off their shoulders. So I'm like, yeah, I'm in the presence of another human being who thinks like me, who eats and sleeps at the end of the day just like me. So I think that's always a good
Yeah.
thing to have, which kind of goes to my next question. Like, what's your philosophy to being a good mentor?
Yeah. I would say I have a philosophy called cost over price. That's kind of my slogan because I try to input in people like focus on the long term versus the short term, right? The long term is the cost. The short term is the price. If I go in the store and I see price tags, right? That's the short term value. But what is it going to cost me in the end? If I go with the cheaper product, is it going to cost me my health? Because that's the cost of it. So I tell people don't really look at the price of things, look at the cost of things because you have to be able to create sustainability for yourself over time. So just because it's good in the short term doesn't mean it will sustain you in the long term. And that's why I try to get to people like, yo, what makes you happy? Not what makes you money, what makes you happy? Because I did a lot of things in my life that was just for money, but it didn't sustain me. It got me to a certain level, which is great, but you're going to hit a level that, like, what do I do next? And if you're not doing what makes you happy, you're going to be constantly in this little, what I call a little rat race, trying to figure that out. And if you keep going money to money to money, you're never going to try and find your true happiness, you know? So that's kind of like my philosophy.
That's what's up. And then, what's one of the most powerful transformations you witnessed through you being a mentor?
Yeah, I don't think I had one yet, if I'm being honest. I have helped people get to another level from a thinking standpoint, but I haven't seen something so transformational that it wowed me just yet, right? So I'm definitely hoping to see it, but I'm trying to work on turning people into who they should be instead of who I want them to be,
Mm,
right? Like I have a very strong personality. And when I talk to people, I try to get myself out of making people think like me. I want them to think like them. But when you're talking to people, they ask you, what are you thinking? What should I do? Right. So I'm trying to get into the point. Once I see that, I will probably say that, but I haven't got to that point yet. But once I see that, like I want people to become like them and not me, you know.
makes sense. Makes sense. And then, like, what's one misconception you've either seen or heard about when it comes to being a mentor? Because you kind of talked about you don't want them to be like you. You need to make sure they have their own thoughts. But are there any other misconceptions you've witnessed or heard about?
I think the biggest misconception is people don't invest into like that space like they should, right? Like people that do invest into it, they get it, right? But it's so many people that think that they have a money issue or they have like a problem. But it's like I be trying to tell people that you don't really have a money issue. You have another issue that the money is the trigger. So people don't want to invest into coaching and mentorship because they feel they don't need it or it doesn't give them instant things. But the reason why you have issues and problems because you keep looking at the instant things and not the things that's the root of the issue. So my biggest thing that I didn't do is invest into coaches early. I depended on my grit and my hustle for the longest. That will sustain you and that will get you to an unbelievable place. But you're going to hit a block where it doesn't work anymore. So, you know, that's the misconception. Like you invest into like your product, but you don't invest into your mind and how to maintain the product. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So that's the biggest exception. Just investing early as possible into your mind.
got you. And then what's advice you would give to someone who's looking to become a mentor for the first time?
I would say develop I would say develop like your philosophy and your purpose of doing it, right? Like we all, I think anybody could be a mentor, right? But I believe you should have a genuine purpose for doing it. You know what I mean? What is your purpose? Like you should develop your purpose for it super early. So that way you're doing it from a super genuine place and not from a place of like trying to prove yourself or you want to be known or remembered as a certain person or you know you just want money from it like a lot of people get into things for reasons outside of things they can control. Like you want to be known in society as a certain thing. And not that that's a bad thing, but I just don't know if that could sustain you because you may get people that come from a different world than you and you still have to try to help them. You know what I'm saying? And the biggest thing that I've learned is active listening. You know, I coming from the music industry, so it's a really hustle bustle place, and you make things happen instead of waiting for them to happen for you. But in this industry, I have adopted the mentality of I wait for things to happen and I don't force them to happen. So that it's like it's very hard because coming from music, I don't want to say it's like the streets, but it's a really like a street mentality, man, because you really have to deal with things a certain way. And in this industry, it's a thinking thing. So you have to actively listen to actually help somebody. So it's a different thing, but it's pretty interesting. But I would say that for sure.
And are there any mentors you want to give a shout out to, or just people in general? Because, like you said, anyone could be a mentor. I define mentors as people who help you along the way. But are there
Yeah.
anyone you want to give a shout out to, either professors, family, friends, people, peers from the music industry? Like, is there anyone you give a shout out to?
Yeah, man, I got a lot of people that I look up to. Troy is one, Troy Ave, Chef, dude named Chris. Um, People that I see that I never met before, but I look at their program in ET, Eric Thomas, Trap Wall Street, him 500. Them dudes, I'm able to be inspired by them, you know what I mean, by just seeing what they do. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the presence of some of them, so I get directly to see what they do. But some I just see on a podcast, and the things they do inspires me to get to my next level. 19 Keys, there's a lot of them out there, man. But salute to all them guys that's really paving the way and doing things the way they want to do it.
So, and then going back to your book, if readers walk away with one message from your book, what do you hope it is?
If you had to walk away with one message from that, I would say try to take control of your life as soon as possible. Like I call myself getting off the plantation. The first plantation is the internal plantation, right? Like that's the first one because you have to figure out how to like one out of you have to figure out how to be able to control the things inside of you, right? Like the emotions, the thoughts, the things that can put you in a place you may not want to be. So that's the first plantation. Figure out how you can get out of that rat race. Then the second plantation is the things you can't control, your workplace, your education, the things that, dictate your money, your time, and your energy. So if you was reading my book, and I do talk about it briefly in there, but figure out a way to get off those plantations so you could be in control of your own life.
So, and then that's the last question I have. Are there any other closing remarks you want to prompt to the, or questions you want to prompt to the audience as they move forward with this long marathon of life?
Yeah, I would say, man, first of all, I appreciate you for having me, bro.
Hmm.
Definitely appreciate it because we need more platforms that shines light on individuals that is trying to do different things, entrepreneurs, people that's in school, 9 to 5ers. That's amazing what you're doing. People that went to college and stuff like that. But I definitely would say, you want to make sure that you are doing things because you want to do them. Right. One of the biggest things I had to do was strip myself of my shoulds. Like I should be doing this or I should be doing that. I had to really like, I guess it would call it reprogramming yourself. You know what I mean? Coming from poverty, coming from the music industry, you adopt certain things and certain patterns that don't sustain you over time, right? You don't look at your health. You just going every day. You don't worry about sleep. You get sleep when you can, right? You don't worry about how you spending money because you think the money gonna keep coming in. You know what I mean? So doing all those things over and over, I had to redesign my life and reprogram myself. So I would say now I try to enter every space as like a student much as possible. Like I'm a learner. I don't know nothing, right? But I notice people get into a certain space where you can't tell them anything, especially older people. You know what I mean? And it's like try to remain a student in everything that you do, so you constantly keep evolving over and over.
I like that. And then could you give a shout out to any social media platforms you might have?
I don't know social media handles. I'm be honest, I don't really be on social media like that. Like I look at social media like a job. I schedule my content, man. I look at my first post on there and I get up out there. But I would I would say just the people I shouted out, like the podcast is Dave podcast, David Donnie podcast. Who else I be listening to? Who else? I listen to a lot of Wall Street stuff. Warren Buffett just dropped an amazing interview about just not having fear. and how he was able to sustain his 50 plus years. But yeah, man, I don't really be on social media like that. I get a little glimpse of it, and then I get my little dose, my little hit, and then I'm out of there, man. So yeah.
But I mean, for your pages, so people can see the work you're doing.
Oh, my personal pages?
Yeah, yeah. Or like,
Okay.
your if you have any marketing pages.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. So my two main pages is Inkz Billy, which is my main page, and I have Billionaire Music, which is my page. We just hit 10K today for our followers.
Woo!
Yeah, man. So that's a big thing for me because we've been grinding with that page for a while. I've been trying to figure out social media for a while. We just, you know what I mean? Like keep trying different things, seeing working what don't work. We finally got a blueprint that worked. We just hit 10K today. So that was pretty big for us, man. So yeah, man, definitely follow those pages. That's where I do most of my stuff
Well, Buster Rhymes say the blessings keep coming. Let's
at.
keep coming
No,
in. That's
that's
what's
a
up.
fact.
Yeah,
That's a
man. But
fact.
yeah, like I said, I told you before, I appreciate you for, being a guest or, being open to being a guest on this podcast. Appreciate you for sharing your perspective from the music industry as well as a mentorship perspective and how you're paving the way for those coming behind you. So I just want to say thank you to you.
100%, man. I appreciate you and your platform, bro.
Appreciate you. Gonna keep doing my positivity spreading. You know what I'm
Yes, sir.
saying? It's always good to have, especially with media. It's a very powerful tool. But let's close this thing out real quick. If you enjoyed, oh, my fault. To the viewer watching this, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend. Make sure to follow Inkz on Instagram and make sure to look at his book. Link in the description. All that stuff. But
For
anyway, till
sure.
next time. Hope to see you on the next episode.
All right, man. Peace out, bro.